You know, I can't see what money they're, you know, having to use to maintain us.
Yeah.
So, and there's all, I mean, I've seen a little post office at Fallsburg Park, they have one, a little CPU.
That's not attached to anything else?
No, it's just in the, well, it's only open in the summertime. It's like people want their postage to say Fallsburg Park, and they do that. But
Yeah. I don't know, according, like I say, Joanne, according to her, this is the only CPU that stands alone in the state of Michigan. She knows that for a fact. But again, it's the nation, she said she wasn't sure of. So, and what Tim, Cindy, I have no idea what Tim's talking about, but he says that has to be over that, or they will start looking at our percentage. What they're costing it for, I have no idea what all that system costs.
I'd like to call Tim and talk to Tim.
I will give you Tim's phone number.
All right.
I'm sorry, Morgan, did you say they did not approve an increase?
They did improve an increase from 10% to 10.54%, which constitutes about $458 over the year.
Is that on metered mail or on postage stamps?
They took us from postage stamps to 4%, to the metered mail to 28%, but based on our sales, it brought us to that across the board. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but
Okay.
and on the packages that we get, like from people that do eBay and they print their own postage, we're supposed to be getting 25 cents a package on that. And are you getting a check for that anywhere?
I only get one commission check based on sales from the United States Post Office, is all I see come through the office, Cindy.
Because we have a lot of people that bring their packages in just so we get 25 cents credit, you know, when we scan them.
Right.
And we've never heard if we get that.
I don't know if that's part of that commission check or not.
How would you find out?
Well, we could call and ask Tim Conner again. I mean, they give me what they give me. The check comes in, it's you know, $700-800 on a good month, $500-600 on a slow month is what our commission check is. So we did $67,800, something like that in business last year, and we made 10% of it. It was right about $6,700. And that's all that come in on that side of the postal. That's all I seen. Now again, that money goes through Chris, but as far as I know, laid out in the reports that I got, that's what we brought in. And there is no other money than that coming in.
Now, Sue figured out something if we closed on Saturday. Saturday is our slowest day. And what would the savings be on that?
Roughly $2,300 a year.
Right.
But your savings is not gonna raise your sales. And he's already telling us he's gonna close it.
Well, I would hope that no matter what, I think the whole United States Postal Service is shutting down on Saturdays. I think that's done, right?
No,
We're
they
gonna do it.
talked about it, but yeah.
No, Congress directed them to stay open.
Oh, they are staying.
And the Postmaster General went ballistic saying, and you're gonna cause us to lose even more money.
I took the amount of money that we budgeted, which was $6,000 in the budget. And then I predicted out through September 1, what our revenue would be. That's based on about 6 months. So if it's the same, that brought us to about $9,000 that we had to work with. If I take the $9,000 and I break it out over the number of weeks, it gave me about 20 hours, 22 hours that we could stay open based on the money that this board had put in the budget. It doesn't give me enough money to get all the way through the year.
But
Okay?
when we did that, we also based that conversation on wrong.
On the fact that we would let the people have an opportunity to go back and put it on a ballot. Correct.
On the fact though that you said there was
An election.
a whole different amount of money in
Yeah.
the bank than what there really is.
Instead of 17,000. He's talking about.
The meeting that we voted to put this money in there was when
No,
you thought this thing was broke even.
no.
And then it was after the vote the next week when you
Right.
found out that it was actually in the hole.
Remember, we were under the assumption that it was costing us $12,000.
Oh, we did that afterwards.
And you went back, and Lynn and Al came up with it, and you came up with the figure that it's actually costing the township $17,000 a year.
Yep. Last year,
Which is the first accurate figure
It
that
is.
we've ever heard.
It is extremely accurate.
What is the 17,000, is that like our salaries? Because our salaries are like 18 for a year.
Right, so if you took the CPU, Cindy, and the lights, there's a phone bill in there, there's an internet connection in there, all that stuff factored into it, it's about $22,000, $23,000 a year of total cost with your salaries, the FICA match, all the stuff you put into it, everything. Is about 23, and like I said, we bring in about 6,500. The 17 is what makes up that difference. And we put that in out of the general fund. We transferred in. At the beginning of the year, we transferred in 12,000. Coming around to the end of the year, all of a sudden, $8,000 appeared on the revenue side. And I went and asked everybody, where did this come from? Because it wasn't there a month ago, and now there's $8,000 here. This made it look good. I told Lonnie, if this is here, it'll be okay. Well, the $8,000 was because when we started on the new accounting system, Chris didn't jump right in and do everything from the beginning. She picked up about 3 months late starting into it last year. So she had that revenue. She entered it and the accountants entered it, or the auditors. So it got double entered on the revenue side.
Let's take it.
Well, I tried, but they took it back from me. They took it back, and I had to come back and tell them I was wrong. So when it was all said and done, we were $5,000 over budget on the CPU at the end of the year. We moved that 5 in. It was an actual cost out of the general fund of $17,000. And that number is accurate. We've had discussion on this board for 4 years of what the actual cost of it is, and that number is pretty much dead on.
So it's, I'm sorry, it's 17,000
Yes,
per year?
per year.
Out of the township funds.
From the township general fund to sustain that CPU.
Do you do any other, I mean, like what about the transfer station? Does that?
Yep,
be
no,
something
that
like-
costs about $15,000. And there are other things that cost money, that's correct, Cindy, yes.
But we could go back and manage that, and we could look at the bottom line on there. We have it within our capabilities here to manage that and to make that break even. That's all we're looking at doing, is generating enough revenue to cover our costs. Just like with cemeteries and stuff like that. We don't have the capability to do that with the post office.
And with the transfer station, most of your loss is from your township cleanup days and your recycling. If you just counted,
That is the majority.
Yeah.
if you count the actual bags going to the dumpster and going to the dump, it's close to breaking even.
You also talked about possibly transferring that down to the campground offices to be operated out of there, and that gives you already the labor costs involved between April and October, right?
It does, but again, that's a 2 to 3 year away of being a reality. It's at least 2 years away of being reality. If we got approved in the first round of our grant application, which most time you do not get it in the first round, it's the second round. You know, if we got that and we knew we had that, that'd be a different story, but we don't even know we've got that.
But if we do get it, we still have to have the approval of the postal service has to approve us moving everything down there, signing it,
And that-
everything.
And that was brought up with Tim, and he asked about that, and his comment was, before we would let you move it, we would have to look at where the revenue
Right,
is.
they would have to look at the building that we're putting it into.
Yep,
You know, please,
Approve that.
correct me if I'm wrong, we had a millage on the ballot for the people of Croton to approve the millage for the post office, and it was soundly defeated, okay? So now I sit up here as one of the people you elected. Think about this for a second. I basically, by extending the life of the post office for for 6 months, I voted against the will of the people. That is morally wrong, and I have fought in my soul with it of